What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Pack a Day Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. A little bit of a later practice today, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of a quick hits today, but I wanted to get you all the key takeaways from today's Packers practice. First and foremost, before we get to the actual practice part of it, we did have a transaction on the day. The Packers did officially sign Elijah Hamilton. That had been reported yesterday, cornerback previously in the XFL. He wore number 19 at practice today, so that's going to be his number moving forward, obviously. But we'll see what he can do and if he can get his name in any conversation for a practice squad spot in the last week of training camp. Meanwhile, in order to make room for Elijah Hamilton, Green Bay had to make a roster move because their roster was at capacity. And, all the beat guys, and I know I was next to Rob Domofsky, him and I are going through and we're trying to figure out who could possibly be the guy that's out, like who's missing. And we didn't see Jason Luan, and we sort of thought that maybe that would be the move, that Jason Luan would be released. And ultimately we found out that Jason Luan actually was out with a back injury, and it was actually Jake Hansen who went out of Saturday's game with an injury, and he was released injured. And so obviously that shin injury was probably something pretty serious. They released him with an injury designation, which means other teams will have the chance to claim him. They will not, based on the injury, of course. And then he'll go on IR, and then Green Bay will probably figure out an injury settlement after that. But for Jake Hansen, that ends probably not only his season in Green Bay, but probably his career in Green Bay. Frustrating sort of career arc for the 6th-round pick, who had opportunities to get starts with the team as far back as, week 1 of last year. He was the starter at right guard. Ups and downs, to say the least. Never really was able to hold on to a spot in any capacity. Struggled when he was named the starter. Certainly felt like he could still maybe be a nice depth piece, but has not really, had the opportunity to do so. I should say more of just hasn't taken the opportunity. He's had opportunities, just hasn't necessarily made the most of it. But you never want to see a guy, end his season early due to injury. And unfortunately, that's going to be the case with Hansen. I did not have him on my 53-man roster projection. I think he would have been on the outside looking in, potentially looking at a practice squad spot, depending on what Green Bay thought of some of their younger centers. But ultimately, like I said, that probably ends not only his season in Green Bay, but probably his career as well. So that will do it for Jake Hansen. Again, Elijah Hamilton in number 19 at corner for Green Bay moving forward. As far as practice goes, it was the tale of two extremely different practices. At the beginning, the defense was dominant. You saw Kenny Clark dominating up front. Kingsley and Igbare had a couple, pressures, and he forced a holding penalty on Rasheed Walker. Devontae Wyatt had a couple different pressures. The defense was flying around all over the place, and it didn't feel like the offense was going to be able to get anything going. The offense was extremely sloppy at the start. You had a false start early by Tucker Kraft. Then you had a period where you had 3 consecutive false start penalties. You had another botched exchange, this time between James Empey and Sean Clifford under center. You had another one where Love was in shotgun, Myers was at center, and Luke Musgrave's coming in motion, and as Musgrave's basically right behind the center, Myers, for some reason, snaps it. It hits right into Musgrave, and it's a fumble. So, the amount of missed snaps and just missed exchanges, whether it's under center, shotgun, etc., we saw it cost them in the New England game on Saturday. 2 more in this practice. It has literally been over 1 per practice at this point in training camp, which is incredible to say just how many issues they've had with the botched snap. So 2 more on this practice, but after that, after all the false starts, after the slow start, couldn't get anything going, after the missed exchanges, Green Bay's offense started to kick it into second gear, and the second half of practice was completely dominated by the offense. It really started where, and to be fair, I know a couple of the other beat guys had reported that Rashawn Gary would have had a sack on the play. I'm not quite as sure. I think Love was fading away and might have been able to get the ball off, regardless of Gary's pressure. But maybe it was still a sack, quote unquote, by Rashawn Gary. But pressure by Gary. Love fades back. He's fading way back off of his back foot. Throws one. I'm not sure how he saw Jaden Reed coming deep. Now, because he's having to fade away on it, ball hangs up a little bit. Still gets out, maybe 40, 50 yards out in front. Jaden Reed does a phenomenal job of, eye back, over the shoulder catch, really, high degree of difficulty, especially because he had to wait up for it for so long. And then Keyshawn Nixon's trying to get back into play, isn't able to do so. And then, Reed ultimately takes it 70 plus yards, I think, for a touchdown on that play. That's what got the offense going. And that was like the kickstart they needed. After that, it was like they were on cruise control, started getting completions left and right by both the ones and the twos. You had a middle screen. So like they basically invited everyone up the field. I think Jones, I don't know if he was out wide. I think he was. But he's out wide and he kind of comes on a little crosser, and all the offensive linemen get out in front of him, and all the defensive linemen get rushed upfield, and they hit Jones on just a little crossing pattern. You look at all the wide receivers, and they're going on deep corner and out routes, and the safeties and corners are going to the sidelines with them, and you see just the C part for Aaron Jones in the middle of the field. He makes one move in the open field when he needs to, and he's gone for an 80-yard touchdown. So beautifully executed play by the offense, and Aaron Jones just kind of did the rest after that. But that was a big time play. You had so the scenario here was 17 seconds left on the clock. You're at the the defense's 25-yard line, right? Tie game. So, or I think it was a tie game. Maybe it was down by 3. Doesn't really matter. Whatever it was, you've basically got the field goal attempt in range, right? It's a 42-yard field goal. And you're going to have the opportunity to get that, either the tie or the win, whatever it ended up being. But they want to try to get their shot into the end zone, or maybe get a closer field goal by getting a quick throw out of bounds, whatever the case may be. But 17 seconds, no timeouts. Christian Watson gets matched up against Keyshawn Nixon, just overpowers him. Nixon falls down at the point of contact. Watson continues on into the end zone. Beautiful touchdown throw, beautiful touchdown catch from Love to Watson. Watson had a really nice day throughout the course of practice, but 17 seconds left. Love puts it on him in the end zone. Touchdown. Beautiful play there. And then you also had a deep crosser to Jaden Reed that was thrown completely perfectly. You had in the middle of the field, Samori Toure was coming open in the middle. Love had to, kind of put it in a spot where only Reed could get it. Probably a little bit underthrown here as well. Reed paid it off perfectly. Sliding catch, really nice play by Samori. So, overall, you just ended up stacking, completion after completion. Even after before the Toure one, you had a nice diving or leaping catch, I guess, by Christian Watson over the middle. Just a really great end of the practice for Jordan Love, the offense. Even the 2s and 3s. Alex Magoo had a great deep ball to Jadakis Bonds for an 80-yard touchdown. And the offense just got rolling and it would not stop. So, first half of practice, dominated by defense. Second half of practice, dominated by the offense. So you love to see the offense get settled in. Maybe you would have liked to have seen it a little bit earlier, but they got settled in throughout the course of the day. One player who has not been settled in any capacity, Anders Carlson, right? You were wondering, he had a good day in the preseason game against the Patriots. 2 extra points, 52-yard field goal. Looked pretty darn good. All right, can he stack success? Can he do it consecutively? Can he start getting into a rhythm? First kick of the day, 34-yarder. Good. All right, off to a good start. Then 45-yarder, wide left. 47, absolutely crushed it right down the middle. Looked like it would have been good from 65. Great. All right, not a great start. 2 for 3, still not great. But all right, let's see. He's got 3 more kicks. Let's see how he does. Final 3 kicks, 51-yarder, wide right. 52-yarder, wide right. 53-yarder, wide left. Yes, it was windy on the day. Definitely played a factor in this. But it's not like it was, as I think Ryan Wood pointed out, it's not like it was hurricane, or maybe it was Bill Huber, one of the guys. Not like it was a hurricane out there. It was windy, no question about it. But guess what? You're going to play in Lambeau 8 or 9 times a year. You're going to play in Soldier Field at least once a year. It's you're going to have 9 or 10 games that are in the outdoors, in the elements. That's going to happen. So this is just another day in the life of a rookie kicker, I guess. But 2 of 6 on the day. And yes, 3 50-yarders in windy conditions. But you want to see at least one of those go through, and at least 50% throughout the day. And to be clear here, and to be fair, if this was his first rough day of practice in some tough conditions, all the forgiveness in the world, right? No questions, no worries. It's not a big deal. But this has been all training camp long, all preseason long. It has just been a massive struggle for Anders Carlson, and that continued on Tuesday. All right, then the last one really quick. Anthony Johnson Jr., I thought had a really nice day as well. He was part of 3 different pass breakups on the day. I think he would have had an interception on one had the corner not also been there and just kind of batted it down on the play. Might have been a pick by Johnson. And And then you had two other plays, including the last play of practice where Jordan Love was going deep to Jaden Reed and Anthony Johnson made a great play on the ball. Carrington Valentine was right there as well, but Johnson streaked over and had the pass break up as well. So 3 different plays he was involved in. Green Bay's in desperate need of a safety to step up. I'm not saying Anthony Johnson Jr. is getting his name in the starting conversation or anything like that, but those are the type of plays that you'd like to see from Johnson. And if he continues to make those, there's no reason why he can't get his name in the conversation sooner rather than later, especially from a group that has no real starting caliber safeties anyway. And multiple plays of the day, you had the deep ball from Love to Jaden Reed, and Jaden Reed made just an awesome adjustment on the play. Alex Magoo deep to Jadakiss Bonds for 80 yards. The screen from Love to Jones for 80 yards. There were some really fun plays. The end zone play from Love to Watson and for a 17-yard touchdown, or 25-yard touchdown, with 17 seconds left. Just some really fun stuff from the offense. Defense obviously had their fair share of plays as well. Like I said, dominated in the first half by the defense, dominated in the second half by the offense. Now we'll see what happens tomorrow as we get our final day of training camp practice. Feels incredibly weird to say. It went by so insanely fast. They'll have another practice on Thursday that'll be open to just the media, and then some follow-up practices, I think, next week that'll be open to the media as well. But as far as fan training camp, this is the last one. It does sound like it's going to get moved up due to heat. It's supposed to be like 95 tomorrow in Green Bay. It sounds like they might move it up from noon to around 11 o'clock, but keep an eye out for that to see what decision they ultimately make there. That's going to do it for me. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a full breakdown of today's practice. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.